Will, what's the Mets' interest level in Schwarber?
Well, first, can we just take a second to say how crazy it is that we're going to have this conversation about Kyle Schwarber, of all people, in the New York Mets? But, I say it's crazy, but I could actually add to that and say, yeah, the Mets have some interest in Kyle Schwarber. I can say that talking to some sources around the game. Now, the level of interest, I personally kind of question and I wonder about, but it does exist. There is something there. And I will add, though, that the Mets, they typically cast a pretty wide net, though, generally speaking, and they want information on all these guys. And look, Kyle Schwarber's a tremendous hitter, so why wouldn't you be interested on some level? So we'll see on that. The Mets have plenty to do. There's a lot of work to be done in other areas as well. And then as far as Schwarber goes, I personally question, just me talking here, I have a hard time not seeing him go back to Philadelphia.
Yeah, I question the fit with the Mets, Todd. Stearns talks about run prevention. They like flexibility, versatility. Where do you think Schwarber would fit in with the Mets?
I think he fits in better with the Phillies, quite honestly, right. Sal. I mean, this guy has had tremendous seasons there. I think he's probably a fit there. Having said that, who doesn't want a guy that can hit 40 home runs and have a 400 on-base percentage? And the Mets have never really had, the last few years, the bona fide DH that they can, pencil in every day. So it doesn't matter about the run prevention. He's certainly not going to help that because he's not going to be needed for that. But he can certainly drive in runs. I just don't know that the interest is really there. And he's 33 years old. What's it gonna take for the Mets to lure him over here and get him out of Philadelphia? I think it'd be too rich.
A lot.
Guys, get excited about this, okay? We have no idea what's going to happen with Pete Alonso. If he's gone, the Mets absolutely need this power and production. Now, listen, if David Stearns is true about run prevention, then they really need Juan Soto to be taking that DH role, probably not Kyle Schwarber. When can you convince Juan Soto to accept the DH role? It's probably one of the biggest things looking into the future of the Mets. But if Alonso signs with the Red Sox, if Alonso goes anywhere, you can weaken a division opponent. You can get Kyle Schwarber, who over the last 4 years has been one of the most productive power hitters, prolific. I want us to get a little more excited about this. I think because great plan B if the Mets are not real about signing Alonso, which they weren't last year. Really, and are they this year?
But that's the thing. It's in place of Alonso and I feel like while Schwarber is the more prolific offensive player, Alonso's more versatile, can play some first, play some DH, who keeps that spot open, and you're getting proven power in New York. So really, it's only a fit without Pete Alonso. And he doesn't do anything else. He's only a DH. Probably going to cost similar, if not more, I would think, than Alonso. But yes, there's nobody else that can provide the power that Pete Alonso can if he leaves than Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber and Alonso, we're talking about those two. Let's take a look at the numbers here. Tail of the tape. I mean, there you go, Maggie. Schwarber, of course, a little bit lower batting average off of last year, but the power. I mean, we know Pete has power. 56 homers for Schwarber. That guy is just a different beast.
A little worried maybe about the home run splits on the home runs, just because Philadelphia a little bit more of a bandbox, but obviously he showed that he can do it in multiple ballparks.
Yeah, I mean, he's got great pop all over the park, but he can hit more home runs opposite field in Philadelphia than he will here.
I like the idea of Schwarber in the clubhouse, too. He's been a great clubhouse guy. Will, how does Schwarber's free agency impact the rest of the offensive players on the market?
Well, there's a lot of chatter about Schwarber being perhaps the first big name to go, and maybe as early as the winter meetings. ESPN kind of floated that as well. I've heard it's kind of the same. And the real tangible impact that could have on Alonso is it kind of gets the dominoes going, right? Where if a team, or teams plural, miss out on Schwarber, maybe they could circle to Alonso. Then all of a sudden there's some more competition for Pete Alonso, and rightfully so. I mean, he is a premier power hitter who deserves that kind of market, and it just takes a little bit of time for that to develop sometimes because we haven't really seen a whole lot of position players off the market. I feel like we need that one big one because a lot of teams now are focusing on starting pitching. We've seen a run of relievers, of course, that are off the board. So we need that one guy, and Kyle Schwarber can be that guy.
The one knock, Todd, on Alonso has been his defense. Stearns has made a priority, talking about the run prevention. Is there a way the Mets can improve the run prevention with bringing Pete Alonso back?
Look, to me, I think that gets overplayed. I think Pete picks the ball well. There's a lot of guys in that infield that would say that they're glad that they have him over there when they're throwing balls in the dirt and wild. Having said that, he's also a guy that produces a lot of runs. You'll take the under-over in the run prevention piece, and run prevention really means up the middle. And up the middle, they're getting stronger. They've got two catchers that are good catchers behind the plate. Semien at second base is obviously an improvement. Tyrone Taylor, if he gets some reps out there, he's one of the best center fielders in all of baseball. And they've got Carson Bench coming up the ladder here pretty soon, who can run it out there. So I don't think the run prevention on the corners is as important. And I also think of run prevention as pitching. You need pitchers to prevent runs. So that's the most important part of run prevention in my book for this offseason.
It kind of got painted like, because of how things fell apart for the Mets this year, like Pete and his defense was such an easy thing to point at and say, you're the problem with all of our defensive woes are on you. It's just not true. No. He has to shoulder some of the blame, but Juan Soto is not great. People were playing out of position all over the diamond last year. I think that really hurt them.